The video you're about to watch is from October 29th, 2007. It is a debate hosted by Ester BPEP, and the League of Women Voters. And it features two candidates vying for City Council District 9 seat. The challenger, an independent, is David C. Adams, and the endorsed Democrat is the Reverend Ricky Burgess. My favorite candidate here is Mr. David Adams. Enjoy the video. This video was shot by David Schulenberger, and it followed the debate that I held, and I'm Mark Rauterkus, with Michael Lamb. That's in another clip. The audio of this debate is also available on our TalkShoe.com page.
I want to begin by just briefly reviewing our rules of engagement this evening. First of all, you will be allowed a 2-minute opening statement. At the end of a minute and a half, the yellow light will go on, which means you obviously have 30 seconds. When I ask you a question, you will have 1 minute to respond to that question, and the same process will go on with the yellow light coming on after 45 seconds. If you have a rebuttal, there is 30 seconds to allow you to rebut, and then of course you will have 1 minute for a closing statement. I will remind you of these if you do not remember them. And then also, of course, as I stated, I have questions here, and as you see they keep coming, we will get through as many as possible, trying to educate the audience and at the same time respect each other's time. Question, well, not question number one, but opening statement. Who would like to go first?
Yes.
Reverend Burgess?
Hello. I'm Reverend Ricky Burgess. I am the Democratic candidate for Pittsburgh City Council, 9th Council District. But tonight, as usual, I want to focus on the future of our community. I want to talk about not what we used to be in the past or focus on the condition of the present, but what we can be if we work together. I believe that we deserve a community filled with hope, with children being able to play in the streets, with people working together, with more jobs, a rebuilt community. A lot of people tell me that there's no hope for District 9. I tell them they're wrong, because I believe that every party in this district counts. In order to do that, I believe we must focus on rebuilding our community. As many of you know, I have a violence reduction plan, which combines targeted police sweeps to get rid of drug and sex offenders with intensive social service interventions to help families get their lives together. In addition, I have developed a district-wide economic development action agenda, which we use as a blueprint and protocol for establishing new development throughout the district. These two proposals, I believe, will help revitalize and make our community better. I have faced tragedy and adversity like me, I've just living in the district. 2 years ago, my mother-in-law was shot and killed in her place of business. 2 weeks ago, my cousin was shot and killed on Burgess Avenue. I've had the problem of having not enough money and deciding what bills to pay. I too have had adversity and difficulty. Like you. People have told me all my life I couldn't do things. Back when I was in high school, they told me I'd drop out of school. I stayed in school, now I'm a professor of communications. They told me I couldn't start a social service agency, but we did, and now we have an agency where children and families work together. They even told me I couldn't date my wife. Well, I did, and we were married for 20 years, and we had 4 children. I really believe in the future of this district, that we can come together, and the future is very possible. All it takes is for us to all work together and come on one accord. Thank you very much for this opportunity to share with you.
Peace and blessings.
Peace and blessings.
Peace and blessings is a new greeting which will be traveling throughout the 9th District. We started this 2 weeks ago in the schools, and when you hear a young person come up to you, or anyone, because it's going to be spread around like pea fire, you return it with a peace and blessings. So when you hear the greeting, peace and blessings. Peace and blessings. Thank you very much. I'm going to give you an analogy, and I just want you all to think about this. all of us are pretty much young enough, or even if you're a senior citizen, you may work out in some kind of way. You may go and walk, you may go and run, you may get on the bike and ride your bike. When you start to sweat and you begin to sweat and you go home, do you begin to put on cologne and put your clothes back on? That's the analogy I'm giving you when we talk about bringing development into a community that's not quite ready for development yet. We see so many actions going on in the district where we want to bring a development in, and we tear it up, or we see that it doesn't develop to its full propriety where it needs to go. We need to start really focusing on going back to the basics in this district, which is what Team Adams has been doing long before we wanted to run for this position, and what we will do through it and even afterwards. This district has to go back to the basics to begin to take ownership of this district. That is going to be a method that we have to go through, not unlike military training, in which I'm very experienced with the Marine Corps. We've done this in several areas, and this is what we need. We have talked to the people in this community, and there is no hope. There is no motivation with the political process as we see it in this room right now. I'm not saying I'm not happy to see you here, but this room should be full, and we should be flowing out the doors and sitting up on We can't ignore what's going on in hopes that it's going to disappear, because it isn't. There are situations going on in this city that are designed to keep us down, and we have to realize it and start focusing our strategies on conquering that to turn this district around.
Burgess, we'll begin with you. If elected, what committee would you want to be on? This is a multiple part question. What committee would you want to be on? Why? And how can you get City Council to make the most of their committee appointments?
Well, of course, the best committee to be on is the finance committee. He has the goal makes the rules. And certainly, if I was privileged enough to be on the finance committee and certainly chair the finance committee, we can make sure that the 9th Council District gets its equitable share of resources throughout the budget. In services directly through the district in all sorts of ways, both through the actual budget, through the capital improvement, and through the authorities. I believe that we, in the 9th Council District, for a variety of reasons, have not received their fair share of resources. Our people are not treated equally to other districts. And so I would like to be the council. I like to be on the budget committee to make sure that we are systematically, that the structures are in place, that we systematically get our fair share of city resources.
I'm a firm believer that money is not going to solve our problems until we decide to stand up and do the things necessary, that money is going to help us move to the next level. Okay. I believe the committee I would want to serve on is public safety, because I'm a firm believer that once we make this district safe, and we can show this city we are serious about becoming a viable district, along with the other districts, then we will have those who will be willing to invest in this district. Then we will see resources coming to us, because we have taken ownership in this district to say, this district is ours, we want it, we're interested in it, and we're willing to do the things to show this city that we are not going to be pushed to the side out in the suburbs.
Start with this one. How do we make Pittsburgh a safer place to live? And how do we encourage residents to fight crime while protecting their identity?
It's a fantastic question. If everyone looks over there on the map, you'll see a map that my conscience group, which I've developed, is going to be moving forward very soon with a federal recognition on the fact that we are losing so many federal dollars coming in to help us with what's called a high-intensity drug trafficking area. For 3 years, we've been working on a development to show the governor, because the governor can only make a request for us to get what's called a HIDA. If you look on that map, you'll see a corridor flowing down through western Pennsylvania where we have absolutely no federal coverage at all. The game that's being played with us is that we have these little entities of Mary Beth Buchanan was a federal attorney, and we have our Stephen Sapala. These people are not sharing information, which is hurting us. We have guns We got CDs coming out now with my son, Terminates the Dead, you got CDs. We got CDs with guys out here in our district that are opening the trunk of their car showing automatic weapons that will put a military man to shame. Banana clips. These guys are so loaded, our police can't handle it. We have to find a way, and the way is our neighborhood awareness program, which is a comprehensive citywide crime prevention program being all 88 neighborhoods.
How do we make Pittsburgh a safer place to live, and how do we encourage residents to fight crime while protecting their identity?
Really, the question really is twofold. We cannot make the community safer simply by greater public safety. You also have to give people jobs and resources so that they can have some hope for the future. And so we have to do both at the same time. On the left-hand side, we need a violence reduction strategy. I favor the Boston plan. I've talked about replicating it here, talked to various people about doing it. But on the right-hand side, we have to create jobs and opportunity for our people. And economic development and jobs on the right-hand side, public safety on the left-hand side. Only when you get the mix of both can you make the community a safer place.
All right.
I got the Boston plan here. Our conscious group, we went up to Boston. We went to 3 cities to see what cities are really working with crime. Boston was one of the ones we chose at first. This plan absolutely was not the same for Pittsburgh. Social service is not going to get us out of this despair. Begging mentality has to stop. It's going to take us standing up, and we need a program like the neighborhood awareness program that is going to encourage our young people to get involved and for us to stand up and do what we need to do.
Do you consider District 9 an African-American voting district, and does that create special considerations? Ricky Burgess.
District 9 is obviously primarily an African-American district. It is not an exclusively African-American district. There are people of other nationalities within our council district. What I think is not so much, the question is one of equity and of fairness. How can we be the most livable place in Allegheny County for the majority population, yet for African Americans that have one of the worst ratings of any major city in the United States? Interesting, it's simply, we want to put our money where the needs are. It is clear that in the 9th Council District, we have more needs than other districts. Therefore, the resources of the city should be used disproportionately in the areas where the greatest needs are. It is not that we're African American, it's that we are primarily poor and we're not rich. That's the reason that we deserve a greater percentage of resources. It's because of fairness and equity, not because of the color of our skin.
Do you consider District 9 an African-American voting district, and does that create special considerations?
I do consider the 9th district a predominantly African-American voting district. I think the small segment of those who are not African-American have totally, and this is from walking around in the communities in North Point Breeze and areas where we talk to the people who don't look like me, and they have just totally engaged themselves from our district. And we see that when we see development that North Point Breeze and Point Breeze residents are building over top of what we even know what's going on. Our development organizations don't know what's going on, and we get word that they're building this, and it comes from an area in Point Breeze and those neighbors. This is the reason why we are in despair. And this is the University of Pittsburgh's School of Social Work, Race and Social Problems. And if you read this, if you haven't read this, I suggest everyone get it, because this is the reason why we are so far behind. It's institutional racism. And until we sit down collectively and begin to understand what our strategy is to fight it, we're going to continue going over this over and over again, looking for somebody to give us something instead of us taking what we deserve.
We forget a very important part of Mark said. Mark said in the I Have a Dream speech that we as African American people cannot do this by ourselves. No. That we all have to do this collectively. I beg to differ. We have people like Johnny Rabinowitz, who's sitting here, who does live in the 14th Ward, who's very progressive and has our heart for fairness and justice throughout the community. I think it takes the whole community. It's not based on color, it's based on mindset. It's based on those of us who have the same passion to empower the children and seniors and to make this district a clean and decent place to live.
Thank you. Dave, what can be done to have District 9 be more of a thriving area for businesses?
We have to clean it up. I mean, before we do anything, would you invest in the 9th District right now on Homewood Avenue or Frankstown? I believe we tried to put a dollar store up here a few weeks ago, a couple months ago, and it's sitting there lamed up right now, and the word on the street is, they done gutted the place already. These are the criminals. Until we clean this district up, until we collectively begin to start talking to our young people, begin to take ownership in this community, in this district, no one's going to invest in the 9th District. Why can't Frankstown and Homewood Avenue look like Carson Street? Why can't we have a district with black business like Harlem Renaissance and build our business up, business for us? Why can't we have something in this city? Why do we always turn around and somebody's there coming in? I don't have to be next to white folks and feel like I can have a business district. And this is what we have to stand up and do. Don't be afraid to say we deserve our own. Homewood Brusher belongs to us. We have a business district that is going to be geared towards us, and we have to learn how to do it by collectively taking ownership of this.
In order to do this, first of all, we have to start, as I said before, we need a district-wide economic development plan so we don't have community groups fighting against each other. Second of all, we already have some development going on in the 9th District that we need to build upon. We have Baker Square that's going on right now. We should use Baker Square as an anchor and begin to build around going to learn new housing, new economic development, because money is going to be start pouring into that area. We have a Walmart probably coming to the East Hills. We need to then rebuild that corridor coming from East Hills in the Homewood. We need to start from strength to strength to rebuild our community. Certainly, while we're rebuilding, if you have no economic engine, then you have no incentive for people to do better. Safety will not get better unless there's some incentive for things to get better. People need jobs, they need decent housing, they need good schools for the children. So you cannot do one without the other. We need both economic development and safety. They both must occur at the same time.
We saw economic development take place in East Liberty, where we had Shop and Save get closed down and Trader Joe's come in. And now look at what our development has done for us. We don't shop there. I don't see people getting jobs in there. When I walk in Trader Joe's, I don't see people look like you and me working in a great spot there. So when we talk about economic development, and we're depending upon a system that has institutionally held us down for over 70 years, maybe it's time we change the way we do business.
Amen.
Burgess, what plans do you have for our youth to reduce black-on-black crime?
Although the city council person specifically does not directly deal with youth in terms of the day job, I've spent a lifetime trying to change violence and youth. As many of you know, I'm the former director of education at the county jail. I've run programs for the last 12 years trying to impact. One of the major things we have to do, I heard this superintendent say something to me that has shocked me since I heard it. The most common grade given to an African American high school student in the United States is the grade of F. More F's than A's, more F's than B's, more F's than C's, more F's than D's. We need to make sure that our children are learning in school. And we need all of the support of after-school programs and counseling programs and all of the barriers to keeping our kids from achieving academically. Unless they are prepared academically, we're going to continue to have violence. We're going to continue to have hopelessness and learn hopelessness and crime and problems. The source of it is the lack of a mind and the lack of opportunity. The vision that they can go on the college, the vision that they can go to trade school, the vision that they can be better than they are right now.
I disagree with my opponent here because I believe that a representative for district has a huge responsibility to set the example for youth in this district. And I have been working with youth for a long time. Just recently, I've just got a verbal agreement from young men who are out in the street swinging. We were doing a poll for over 2 years asking guys who are out swinging dope, would you rather have a job or do what you're doing? And the 87% of the response, which we just finished in May of last year, was that they would take the job starting at $10 an hour. What this shows is that these young men are out here because they feel like they have to be out here. And so under Adam's term in the city council, I already have young people who are waiting and poised for your vote to get us in there so that we can get young people involved with drill teams, start doing some of the things that we don't see being done in Pittsburgh, raising the level of pride of young people in this district.
Well, the tape ends about here. There were one or two more questions in the closing statements, but I think you get the gist of the two different candidates. Thanks for watching. Thanks for placing a smart vote.